It's Maria from Still Dreaming Homestead. Glad to be back with you. I missed yesterday. Sorry about that. Uh, but the day before, we ended our book Little House on the Prairie. So we're reading the whole Little House series. So far we've read Little House in the Big Woods, Farmer Boy, Little House on the Prairie, and today we're starting on the banks of Plum Creek. And here's what this looks like on the banks of Plum Creek. This is, of course, by Laura Ingalls Wilder. Now, if you remember the last time we read, from the last chapter, they had headed out. They'd been living on the prairie for 1 year. They'd built a house and a stable. Pa had trapped, and they even had got a plow and seeds. But the soldiers came and told them that he was on Indian territory and that was not open for homesteading, even though he had heard it was going to be. So they had to leave. Let's continue. The door in the ground. And I'll show you the picture. I don't think I already have, but let's see if I can turn it this way. The door in the ground. I'm doing a terrible job. So here's the wagon up here. But down below it, there's a little door there. And in fact, there's a window. Let's read what this is about. The dim wagon track went no further on the prairie, and Pa stopped the horses. When the wagon wheels stopped running and turning, Jack dropped down in the shade between them. His belly sank in the grass, and his front legs stretched out. His nose fitted in the furry hollow. All of him rested, except for his ears. All day long, for many days, Jack had been trotting under the wagon. He had trotted all the way from the little log house in Indian Territory across Kansas, across Missouri, across Iowa, and a long way into Minnesota. Minnesota. He had learned to take his rest whenever the wagon stopped. In the wagon, Laura jumped up, and so did Mary. Their legs were tired of not moving. This must be the place, Pa said. It's half a mile up the creek from Nelson's. I've come a good half mile, and there's the creek. Laura could not see a creek. She saw a grassy bank, and beyond it was a line of willow treetops waving in the gentle wind. Everywhere else, the prairie grasses were ripping across the sky's straight edges. Seems to be some kind of stable over there, Pa said, looking around the edge of the canvas-covered wagon. But where's the house? Laura jumped inside her skin. A man was standing there beside the horses. No one had been in sight anywhere, but suddenly that man was there. His hair was pale yellow. His round face was as red as an Indian's, and his eyes were so pale that they looked like a mistake. Jack growled. "Grrr, be still, Jack," said Pa. He asked the man, "Are you Hanson?" "Ya," the man said. Pa spoke slowly and loudly. "I hear you want to go west. You trade your place?" The man looked slowly at the wagon. He looked at the mustangs, Pet and Patty. After a while, he said again, "Ya." Pa got out of the wagon, and Ma said, "You climb out and run around, girls. I know you're tired of sitting still." Jack got up when Laura climbed down the wagon wheel, but he had to stay under the wagon until Pa said he might go. He looked out at Laura while she ran along the little path that was there. The path went across short, sunny grass to the edge of the bank. Down below it was a creek, rippling and glistening in the sunshine. The willow trees grew up beyond the creek. Over the edge of the bank, the path turned and went slanting downward close against the grassy bank that rose up like a wall. Laura went down it cautiously. The bank rose up beside her till she could not see the wagon. There was only the high sky above her, and down below her the water was talking to itself. Laura went a step further, and then one more step. The path stopped at a wider, flatter place. There it turned and dropped down to the creek in stair steps. So somebody had cut out stair steps. Then Laura saw the door. The door stood straight up in the grassy bank where the path turned. It was like a house door, but whatever was behind it was underground. The door was shut. In front lay two big dogs with ugly faces. They saw Laura and they rose up slowly. Laura ran very fast up the path to the safe wagon. Mary was standing there, and Laura whispered to her, "There's a door in the ground and two big dogs." She looked behind her. The two dogs were coming. Jack's deep growl rolled from under the wagon. He showed those dogs his fierce teeth. "Those your dogs?" Pa said to Mr. Hanson. Mr. Hanson turned and spoke words that Laura could not understand, but the dogs understood. One behind the other, they slunk over the edge of the bank, down out of sight. Pa and Mr. Hanson, do you know why she couldn't understand it? It was a different language. Pa and Mr. Hanson walked slowly around the stable. The stable was small, and it was not built of logs. Grass grew on its walls, and its roof was covered with growing grasses blowing in the wind. Laura and Mary stayed near the wagon where Jack was. They looked at the prairie grasses swaying and bending, and the yellow flowers nodding. Birds rose and flew and sank on the grass. The sky curved very high, and its rim came nearly down to the faraway edge of the round earth. When Pa and Mr. Hanson came back, they heard Pa said, "All right, Hanson, we'll go to town tomorrow and fix up the papers. Tonight we'll camp here." "Ja, ja," Mr. Hanson agreed. Pa boosted Mary and Laura into the wagon and drove out into the prairie. He told Ma that he had traded Pet and Patty for Mr. Hanson's land. He had traded Bunny, the mule colt, and the wagon cover for Mr. Hanson's crops and his oxen. He unhitched Pet and Patty and led them to the creek to drink. He put them on their picket lines and helped Ma make camp for the night. Laura was quiet. She did not want to play, and she was not hungry when they all sat eating supper at the campfire. "The last night out," said Pa. "Tomorrow will be settled again. The house is in the creek bank, Carolyn." "Oh, Charles," said Ma, "a dugout? We've never had to live in a dugout yet." "I think you'll find it very clean," Pa told her. "Norwegians are very clean people. It will be snug for the winter, and that's not far away." "Yes, it will be nice to be settled before the snow flies," Ma agreed. "It's only till I harvest the first winter crop," said Pa. "Then you'll have a fine house, and I'll have horses and maybe even a buggy. This is great wheat country, Carolyn. Rich, level land with not a tree or a rock to contend with. I can't make out why Hanson sowed such a small field. Must have been a dry season, or Hanson's no farmer. His wheat is so thin and light." Beyond the firelight, Pet and Patty and Bunny were eating grass. They bit it off with sharp, crunching, pulling sounds, and they stood chewing it and looking through the dark at the low stars shining. They switched their tails peacefully. They did not know that they had been traded. Laura was a big girl, 7 years old. She was too big to cry, but she could not help asking, "Pa, did you have to give him Pet and Patty? Did you, Pa?" Pa's arm drew her close to him in a cuddling hug. "Why, little half pint," Pa said. "Pet and Patty like to travel. They're little Indian ponies, Laura, and plowing is too hard work for them. They'll be so much happier traveling out west. You wouldn't want to keep them here breaking their hearts on the plow. Pet and Patty will go on traveling with those big oxen. I can break up a great big field and have it ready next spring. A good crop of wheat will bring us more money than we've ever had, Laura. Then we'll have horses and new dresses and everything you can want." Laura did not say anything. She felt better with Pa's arm around her, but she did not want anything except to keep Pet and Patty and Bunny the long-eared colt. That's the end of chapter 1. It was a short chapter, wasn't it? So that door led to a little house that was a dugout. How interesting. I once met a man, and he was Norwegian. And when he was a boy, he grew up in a dugout. They're super insulated, and so they're really easy to heat in the wintertime, and they would be cool in the summertime. Well, we'll see what Laura and Mary and Mom and Pa think about it when they move in. It's Maria from Still Dreaming Homestead. I want to pray blessings on you and yours, in your house and out of your house, in the day and the night. Whatever you do, keep dreaming. If you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe. Hit that notification bell and you'll know every time I put out a video. And if you enjoy this or know someone else that might, please share it. That's the best way to help my channel grow. All right. Good night, and God bless you.